Welcome back to the Mediocre Disc Golf Podcast, an average podcast for the average disc golfer. As always, I'm Evan Anstutz, joined by Kim Hatcher. We're happy you could join us. Kim, how are you doing today?
Howdy, howdy. I'm doing good. I'm finally getting over being sick, which is so nice. I haven't played disc golf in 4 days. I'm losing it. It's fine. I'm really pumped. I literally just want to go outside. The weather was horrible yesterday, so yeah, yeah, doing
I
pretty
feel
good.
that.
Doing
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, yesterday was very bad weather. I didn't feel like going out and disc golfing. I didn't feel like driving 30 minutes to the nearest course, so I went ball golfing instead. And
Yeah, I saw that. Tell us more about your ball golf experience.
it was good. I'm starting to get the bug again for playing ball golf. Uh, I played pretty well considering I didn't have a glove because I forgot mine at home because I'm
What
an
do you mean, a
idiot.
glove, like a batting glove?
It's similar to a batting glove, but it goes on one hand. It goes on your top hand in your grip instead of both hands.
Wait, okay, hold on. Okay, hold on 1 second. So when you have a top, and like if I was a righty, my top hand is my right hand, but
It'd be your
like,
left hand.
but so it is because when
Yeah.
you put the
Yep.
okay,
Yep. Yep.
okay.
Yep. Yep. But I shot 4 over, which I was pretty happy with
Is that is that with a handicap or without a handicap?
without a handicap.
Oh, that sounds pretty good actually.
Yeah, and it's nice because it was the course right in front of my neighborhood. So my wife was able to come and stop by on her way home from work and play, or not play, but ride in the cart on the last 9. So got
Nice.
some
Riding
good
the cart.
videos of
That's the
that.
best part.
Exactly. And yeah, it was a good time. Had the course pretty much to myself because it was raining off and on. But I'd rather have the course to myself with a little bad weather than have to be waiting all the
Well, I
time.
saw the picture you either posted or you sent to me. I don't know which one you did, but you sent it to not just me. He doesn't just send stuff to me, guys. He sends it in the group chat. Um, the pace of play thing on the golf cart, like the golf cart will
Yeah.
tell you how you're doing for pace. That's
Mhm.
so cool. Like,
Yeah.
that's pretty neat.
Yeah. It was especially fun yesterday because the course was wide open. I could go as fast as I wanted, so I was just racing the little thing to see how far ahead of the recommended pace I could get. I think I finished at like 80 minutes ahead of pace of play.
Oh my gosh. That's
So
like
I
when you're
was just
driving on a
cruising.
long road trip and you're like, ooh, the GPS says 27 minutes. Can I get there in 2020? Can I get there in 2020?
I bet.
Like little things like that. That's awesome. That's great.
But I did run into something that really reminded me of what makes disc golf so great compared to ball golf in some aspects of I think sometimes the community for ball golf can be a little bit more old boys club and that sort of thing because I was the only one out there and I got to one hole and as I was driving up to the green there were some kids that were like playing golf just chipping and putting around and they took off running as soon as I started driving up. And I mean, I remember when I was a kid playing, and that was all I wanted to do. So, like, they kind of like were peeking out from the bushes, and I was like, "Come on, I don't care." And I challenged them and all that, but they thought I was going to kick them off the course, which I thought was pretty sad. And that means I imagine that means that they've been kicked off a couple of times
Yeah,
before,
probably.
which is disappointing because that's not how you grow the game. You encourage the kids to play and do whatever you can to keep them doing that. It's
Yeah.
not like they were out there would have said something that they were like riding their bikes on the greens or doing something that would actually damage the course, but they were out there doing the right thing. I don't think you see that as much in disc golf. I think that the community is a bit more welcoming there, but it was
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
just an interesting observation.
All right, let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's talk about the Music City Open. I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts.
What are your thoughts? Because I enjoyed the course. I thought it was so much, the redesign was so much better. It was actually an interesting watch.
And I can agree to that. And I'm gonna ask you, have you looked at it through an FPO lens?
I did notice that the FPO scores were significantly higher.
Yeah, I mean, I agree for MPO. I was watching the Jomas practice round with all the boys, and I thought it was pretty good. The boys looked like they were playing it pretty decently, but
Mm-hmm.
and I heard nonstop from both sides how the redesign was great. Holland Hanley had posted how she really liked it and all that, but I don't. You can't convince me that it's such a better course and better for scoring when 62, could be wrong on that number, could be wrong, when 62 MPO players are under par, they're total. And
Mm-hmm.
there's only 3 FPO players under par for total. Like, I don't mean to be doing this every time, but why aren't the FPO getting more birdies? Why aren't we? Like, it wasn't until the third round where the hot round was 7 down. Yeah, 7 down. That sounds about right. And that's what Kristen and a couple of the other ladies shot for the hot round. But
Yeah.
just, I'm sorry. Like, maybe it's a great MPO course. Like, I could definitely see that. I thought I saw some big numbers, like a 10 down. Like, that's where I would like to see a hot round for MPO, like a 10, 11 down.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing crazy, not like a 15 down, but it's not like a 5, 4 down. We want to see birdies. I don't know. I just want more. I want more birdies.
Yeah,
What's the
I
worst we
agree.
can do? We see FPO has more birdies than guys. Is that so scary?
I also, the two things I could see people saying is there's more MPO players, but I mean, still, there's not, what, 20 times more?
Yeah, like if
There's
if
not
we're
20
gonna
times.
agree to that, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying.
And then the weather was really freaking bad.
Yeah, the weather was atrocious. But wasn't the weather
But
bad no matter who was playing?
yes, yeah. But those are the two things I could see people saying, but I agree with you. I think there's no reason to not make the courses more attackable for the FPO field.
That's a great word. That's
Not
our
easier, just attackable.
attackable. And we're not asking for you to make every hole par five, but like we can make the holes more attainable. I don't know. Just my personal opinion. I just want to say that. But Kristen, being Kristen, she came out and took the win. She had a rough second round. Ooh, +4. Yeah. She had a rough second round.
Mhm. But that was when
But
the weather was like incredibly nasty.
oh really? Okay. And
Yeah, that was
then
the really bad day.
holes, yeah, she did pretty decent. I mean, I'm really glad she took the win. She definitely has been putting in the work, and I love to see that. Let's see. Chase card win, Simon. That was freaking awesome to watch.
That might be one of the more clutch performances we see all year. 8 birdies
Yeah,
to
what was it?
finish,
How many was it?
8 in a row.
Dude, that's like bowling when you're like, you get strikes, and you're getting near the seventh frame, eighth frame. You're like, oh, like that's awesome. And a chase card victory, that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think Jomas did a good job of trying to portray how quickly Simon was catching up, but these I think it's the third straight Elite Series where the chase card has won. I think we're
Something, yeah.
starting to get to the point where you just miss some of the drama by
Mm-hmm.
watching only the lead card the day
Yeah.
after because Jomez does as well as they can with that, but if you're not seeing, oh, Simon birdied this, oh, Simon birdied that, oh, here,
Who does chase card for the MPO?
I don't know.
That's I'm gonna Google it. PDGA.
But I think only watching one card post produced loses the perspective, like the broader how the rest of the field is doing. You don't see who's heating up. You don't kind of feel the momentum shift. It's just all of a sudden on the little ticker at the top left, Simon's name is up there as the leader.
True. That's a great point.
You don't necessarily see you don't see things build. It's just kind of it feels like Simon came out of nowhere to win that, whereas he was just
Chugging along.
charging. He was charging all day long.
Yeah.
So for those who say that post produce is better, I point you to the last 3 Elite Series events where if you're only watching post produced, you really lose the sense of momentum.
Yeah, that's a great point. I feel like not post produced. I feel like live is getting pretty better at like sending a camera when they feel that somebody's making a really good round. They'll send a camera. So
Yeah.
I do agree. I think that's a good argument for people who are like, "Oh, don't spoil. I haven't watched the post production." It's like you're missing the action. You're missing the action.
Yeah, it's similar to watching a football game, but you're only watching one team. And
Yeah.
then out of nowhere, the other team has scored more points and there's 10 seconds left in the game. And you're like, what just
Wait a second.
happened?
Why did wait a second? What? So
Right.
I
Whereas
agree.
if you're watching it live, watching both sides of the ball and all that sort of stuff, you understand how the game is progressing, understand like,
Yeah.
oh, AB really needs to start pressing here because Simon's really charging and he's gonna hit this stretch where you can just birdie, birdie, birdie.
Yeah. Well, if AB was able to, I don't know, I didn't see the course that commonly, but if he was able to eagle somehow 18, he would have tied Simon and pushed a
Mm-hmm.
playoff. But 723-foot hole, the odds of the eagle were very low. So
Yeah.
this is great.
AB and Chris Dickerson really struggled to putt. They kind of both at one point had it in their hand and
Mm-hmm.
don't
I
want to say
mean,
threw it away, but they weren't able to capitalize on.
yeah, I'd say capitalize because AV only lost by one and Chris Dickerson only lost by two. So
Yeah.
definitely missed opportunity there. But FPL, MPL, I love it. And something I jokingly was making a comment earlier was that even pros miss their tee times. Erica Stinchcomb in the FPL, I guess something happened and she missed the first 4 holes. So she took +4 on all of those. So she made a post. She was like, yep, even with a 16 plus handicap going in, she was able not to finish last, which she was very proud of. She
Yeah.
finished 45th, which is six spots. Honestly, that is kind of impressive. You know, starting with a +16 and having to keep going out there, that's tough. And keeping your
Yeah.
mental game. Have you ever missed a tee time?
No, because I'm like super paranoid about getting places on time. I really don't like being late.
Yeah, I feel like it's with disc golf for me. Like I got to warm up, I got to eat. Like I have like 15 things that need to happen before I get to the course. So like for
Mm-hmm.
me to be able to like miss my tee time or sleep in or oversleep, that kind of stuff is super difficult.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have missed a flight for work and I've missed 2 flights for work, which is, you know, if I fly so often, sometimes I just want to show up to the airport and literally walk on the plane. And, you know, that's not the best idea when you have to drive an hour and a half to Orlando. So,
Yeah, the Orlando airport's also not the easiest to get around.
so yeah, but I thought that was kind of, we're the Mediocre Disc Golf Podcast. You know, I feel like sometimes it's okay that you do that. And the pros sometimes do that too.
Yeah, it's okay if it happens. You just gotta
Keep
battle
going.
back. I think it's a good test of your mental abilities at that point because do you give up? Do you start throwing YOLO shots? Do you like really put your head
Tomahawks
down
every
and
hole.
grind? Yeah. Like there's a lot of different ways you could approach that situation.
Yeah,
In
100%.
Erica's situation, she's a professional trying to make money, so you might as well put your head down and keep grinding. But
Yeah,
I
good
feel
point.
like an AM might just go, oh, not even showing up, or
Yeah,
like let's throw rollers on all these holes now.
excellent point. Excellent point.
Hey Kim, have you ever thrown a cloud breaker?
I don't touch those things. No, I've not thrown a cloud breaker. I think we have one somewhere in the house, but Josh has tried them. He's trying to fill that like distance bomber disc in his bag. So
Mm-hmm.
he's tried a cloud breaker, different kinds of destroyers, all that fun stuff. But yeah, he's tried a cloud breaker before.
Well,
Why you ask?
if he needs a new one, they're gonna be dropping at the disc shop this week,
What?
so he can go pick one up for
You got a code for
10%
me?
off. Yeah,
What's the code?
MDG Pod.
MDG Pod.
You can use that online, or if you tell them that you're a listener in store, they'll also give you that discount. So
I love when things are on sale. It feels better.
it always feels better.
You know what also is awesome?
What's
The
that?
Zone OS drops on Friday. So if you want a Zone OS, you could also go to the dish shop and get one. That's really, I'm so excited. I don't think I really want to test it because the test flight is usually different from that first run. And I really want to see what it feels like. If it's still got the deep rim, maybe I'll stick with it, but I really, 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 really want to try it and not have a black disc because the black test flight I have right now is so pretty. It does not need to get lost.
Yeah, and if that one gets lost, it's never coming back.
It's never coming back. I know. I mean, I still haven't gotten my Undertaker back. I lost it at DeBerry. A week later, somebody called me, said they found it at Barnett Park. And I was like, well, I've never been to Barnett Park. So that's great. And the guy was like, yeah. I was like, oh, could you bring it to the Disc Golf Center, which is the shop in DeBerry? I was like, I'll go pick it up. I always go to Ladies Lee on Tuesdays. I'll go pick it up. The guy's like, yeah, we'll get it to you. It's been like a month and a half. I haven't gotten it back yet. And I go to Disc Golf Center often because it's fun. And I haven't gotten it back yet. It's fine. I have a titanium Undertaker and I actually like that one a lot more. So it's fine. Everything's fine. I'm not mad at all.
Yeah, it's always funny how discs can wander. I got called about a disc that I never took to California when I went out last year. And on Christmas Day this year, someone's like, hey, found your purple Halo Destroyer. I was like, oh, the one that I lost in the middle of Ten's Pond at New World? Yeah. Because they were saying that they found it at Magnolia. And there's a course about 2 hours away called Magnolia. Everyone refers to it as Maggie around here. And I was like, oh,
Maggie.
yeah, like I'll be driving past there in a couple of days. Like if you're on my way back to Jacksonville, if you live close to there, I'd love to swing by and pick it up. He's like, Jacksonville.
They're like, what is Jacksonville? What is a Jacksonville?
They're like, this is Magnolia in like Northern California.
Not even Southern California, Northern California. That's great, honestly.
Yeah, and it wasn't the part of Northern California that I went to. It's like North California. I was like, wow, okay, this definitely traveled. But
that's so fun. Why do people do that? Like, okay, I'm guilty of like I'll find your disc and I say I'm gonna give it back to you, but it'll just sit in my garage. But like also you're not texting me to remind me, so kind of your fault too. Like you should be like, hey, like, did you send that disc? I'd be like, oh, sorry, I forgot. I've got a whole stack. But like you find this disc, someone had to get this disc, and then you had to obtain this disc, and for them to take it to another state to play that such disc, and we're so bad at using such disc that they lost it.
Yeah, little side rant here. If you lose the disc, it is not the responsibility of the finder to coordinate with you to get it back. They need to tell you, hey, I found it, and then you come up with the game plan of how to get it back. I've got a few discs in my garage that have just sat there. And I know I've also been bad about like, hey, someone found my disc. Awesome. I'll pick it up from you. And then I forget, then I forget. And I just kind of give up at that point. Because at that point, my rule of thumb is a month. Disc. Yeah. My rule of thumb is a month. If someone doesn't get back to me, that disc is now mine. I can do it. But that's just a little side rant. I do have a disc that I need to get back to someone, and I told them how I was going to give it to one of the disc retrieval people in our area, but I have not seen that person. Or I've been in the wrong car, and that disc just lives in a certain car.
Oh, I understand that one completely.
And here's the clever segue into our next segment about the drill of the month.
Oh, so clever. So clever.
So clever. I'm so good at doing this. Been doing it. This is episode 62, and I've gotten really good at it. But as promised earlier, with the new changes, we're going to start the drill of the month for April as Kim moves her cursor around our show notes, and I can't read anything. This month, Josh Hatcher, Professor Disc Golf. You can find him on Instagram at professor_disc golf. He's going to be doing a video that will be out when this is released about getting your legs involved. So what we would love to see everyone do is follow the drill. Let's all get better together. And if you tag us in a video of you doing that drill, you get extra entries into the giveaway this year, or this
What?
year, this month.
This month, not this year. Maybe we'll do
And
a year one. We don't know. We'll figure it out.
yeah, just
But
like super giant annual giveaway.
heck yeah.
No promises there. But this month's giveaway is a disc dyed by our last guest, Brandon Fairbanks of Spike Heiser
Ooh.
Dies.
Ooh.
So this is definitely the one to get in on, get those extra entries. And also, it's the first drill of the month. So from here on out, the second Friday of every month, there will be a new drill of the month. So keep an eye out for it, and keep an eye out on Josh's Instagram for the drill.
Yeah, with the drill this week, it's the getting the legs or drill this month. It's getting the legs involved, and that's so important. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but when I watch disc golf, Josh likes to tell me, "Oh, that person's not losing their legs. Oh, that person's all arms." And so it's definitely important. If you can get the whole body involved, it's incredibly important to help you have accuracy and distance. So this month, he's trying to make sure that people understand how to utilize it properly. It's not just dragging your back foot or anything like that. There's a lot more to it, and this drill will help that a lot.
I just swing my legs wildly and make sure that I look as awkward as possible, and then look back at Josh to see his look of disapproval.
True.
Because usually when he's like, that person doesn't use their legs, and he's telling you that, he's usually talking about me. So I could take some notes from this month's drill.
Maybe write this down. Write this down.
Well, do you want to move into our other segment?
I would love to. This is our fan favorite segment. We've got the Hoffy's Heaters, brought to you by Spike Heiser Dies. All right, this is where our social media manager, Matt Hoffman, gives us his hot takes on things nobody else is talking about. Probably for a good reason. So,
sometimes it's for a good reason.
Probably. All right, take it away. I'm ready.
Let's see what this one's all about.
All right, this week on Hoffy's Heaters, I'm going to discuss something just thinking about the state of our game. And something that I've just started to notice as we become more and more involved in rounds every day, taking the time to go to leagues and tags and tournaments. And when does a casual round stop being casual? Last week I talked about time. A couple of weeks ago I talked about this and that. But when does a round truly become competitive, and when does it become casual? Like, I always want to beat my friends. I definitely want to beat Evan every time I try and play with him. That's a goal. I want to beat Josh. I want to beat Kim when I'm playing with them. But when does it take the fun away? When you're trying to beat those players, that you begin to implode because you're not having a good time? When does that round happen? And I think personally, it's when the second you start putting something on the line, whether that be tags, CTPs, a little bit of cash, maybe some skins. And I think when we lose that identity of what a casual round is, it takes a lot of the fun out of the game. I love that I get to play rounds with my friends. I love that. When we start putting more and more on it, I start to really lose that sense of this being casual and start putting myself into a competitive mindset.
All right, that Hoffy's Heater was brought to you by your local library, because apparently that's where he recorded it this week. I don't know.
It's so soft spoken. I love it. It was just like a heater, but it was like a simmer. That was the Hoffy simmer.
ASMR heaters with Matt Hoffman.
All right. He makes a great point. It makes a great point. Like, we lose what casual rounds are. And Josh and I are guilty of it 100%.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Where I think casual rounds stop is when someone goes at the very beginning of the round, yeah, we're playing for tags, right? Like, as soon as someone mentions tags, I think it's no longer a casual round, just because, like, yeah, end of the day, it's a piece of plastic or metal or wood or leather, whatever your tag is made out of. But there's something to compete for. And as a very competitive person, if there's something to win, I'm going to win it.
Yeah.
It's
Josh
hard to turn that off.
Yeah.
But I definitely agree. sometimes people can get too into the tags, too into like where every
Yeah.
single round needs to be a tag round, every single round needs to be a practice round. Then you got a tournament round, then you need to prepare for the next tournament. Like it can run away from you pretty quick.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Like you're always like getting ready for a tournament. Like I felt that like leading up to Throwdown, I was always like, I need to get ready, need to get ready. But I think the important thing to remember when you're playing casual and you want it to be casual, throw out extra shots.
Throw
Don't
throw dumb
don't
shots.
throw dumb shots. Like throw, for me, at Reed Canal where we play, where to me to get ready, I like to throw backhands and forehands on every shot, and that for me helps me get ready. Throw a third one. Throw a forehand roller. Throw like mix it up a little bit. Josh and I a lot of time at Reed, sometimes it can get boring. Make a new tee pad. Pick a different basket. Like make it fun, make it different, and keep it casual. Taking score. Don't take score. Don't do it.
Or play a game.
Play a game.
Putter only rounds. My buddy John and I like to do a game that we change the name of it all the time, but essentially it's whoever won the hole prior gets to make the rule for the next hole.
Oh, I love that. That's so
And
fun.
yeah, you compete a little bit just so you can make the next rule, but the rules can be as dumb as like there's a hole at Springfield that the basket's right next to the road, and so the rule is ace or OB. You do not leave the tee box until you either hit an ace or go OB. Now, with this rule, we've never hit an ace. We always go OB at some point, but that's the kind of thing you're looking for. Just like, oh, we're going to ace around this hole. Or if it's a safe hole to do so, anti-Mando, where you have to go opposite of whatever the Mando is. So you're throwing like these huge Anheuser's, like
That's
Sky
so
Anheuser's,
fun.
and like all these weird lines that you've never think about trying on that hole. And if you play the same course enough, you program yourself to just throw the same line and you don't try anything new. If you have the opportunity, and again, it's safe, try an anti-Mando hole, because that's a lot of fun.
Dude, do you makes me think of this? Oh, say Cole Hunter. He's one of our buddies. We play with him all the time. He loves to take score. He's a big proponent, like, let's take score, let's take score. But he'll throw dumb shots the whole time, and it's annoying. So like when we go out, I'll ignore the boys and I'll just play my game, and like I'll have fun in my own way, not focusing on score. But those boys will take score, but throw the dumbest shots. And it's like, what? I feel like that's like an ultimate test of like, can you like relax and have fun, but also take score, because you're doing dumb stuff, but you're taking score. So,
and I like that too, because it does, like, you're doing a dumb shot, but you're doing a dumb shot in a way that you're still trying to execute it well. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to throw a tomahawk on this 750-foot par 4 for no reason.
Yeah.
Like, you're actually trying to execute a shot. But I agree with Matt. Sometimes it really gets away from certain people, different groups. Like the mediocre group can sometimes go through a spell of, we just keep playing competitively. We keep, like, it becomes not fun. And I don't think that's ever indicative of that person's too competitive or that group is too competitive or whatever. I think it's more of, that's just the phase. Someone needs to step up and say, hey, let's not play for tags this time. Let's
have a great time.
Right.
Jesus.
It's fun. We're having fun.
We're having fun. I love disc golf. Disc golf is so much fun. Yeah, but I feel like finding the casual round is important, but also finding the competitive round is also, there is an importance in that too. I'm a personal big fan of disc roulette. If you go online and you find disc roulette, that's so fun. My favorite is the one where you have the James Conrad everything, so you have to have like a 30-foot run up every time,
even on your putts.
Oh my goodness, that was so much fun to do. I was hanging out with my buddy, and he was like, who's James Conrad? I was like, stop, just run up 30 feet every time. He's like, oh, okay. That was so much fun, especially because we were on like 160-foot hole. So it's great. That was a great heater. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, and if you want an absolute heater of a disc, you should go check out Spikeiser Dies. Brandon is creating amazing dies for everybody to enjoy, and you can find his work on Instagram at shdies_DG. See what he has to offer in the shop, or you can request something custom. Spikeiser Dies. Excellence by design. I feel like you were moving your cursor over our show notes intentionally there.
I'm so sorry.
And that's staying in because that's funny. You keep doing it.
I have ADHD and I just I can't just not do that at all. Sorry about that. All right.
Because I know nobody can see it. Kim is reading along with me, but with the cursor on our little Google sheet. So it just says Kim Hatcher over whatever I'm trying to read. So I'm having to build up some patience and also go into my memory to remember what I was going to say. But thanks, Kim.
You're welcome. All right, let's get into the last part of our day today. We're going into building a bag. How does one build a bag?
Yeah, we've gotten a few requests for an in the bag, but audio isn't necessarily the best way to look at this.
Here, I'll do my in the bag. Here we go. Ready? I have here's my bag. Discraft. Yeah. Discraft. That's my in the bag. And then one DGA disc because I needed a mid-range I could throw in forehand. So there's my in the bag. Evan, go ahead. What's your in the bag?
50% AGL, 40% MVP Axiom, and then probably the other 10% is just other. I have
gotcha.
Clash, I have Discraft, I have Latitude.
Is the MVP Axiom a phase?
All right. For context, Josh started getting into MVP disc, and I was like, "Oh, that's adorable. It's just a phase." And here I am, a few months later, with a good portion of my bag being MVP Axiom.
It wasn't a phase for Josh. I think his bag is 75%. He hasn't taken out the Calvins yet, or the Calvins and the zones haven't come out yet.
Right.
And everything else is Axiom or MVP. He's a gyronaut. You're a gyronaut.
No, I won't go that low. I won't be blowing up Facebook pages.
All right. Oh, no, never mind.
Whoa.
Okay.
Trying to go down a rabbit hole there.
Let's talk about beginners. Okay. I feel like so many people could go off about so many different things about beginners, but I'm going to name two. You name two things that you feel like a beginner needs or just things they can think about. Not necessarily you need this disc because that's what everyone does that. It's annoying. Mm-hmm. What do you two things you would feel like you want a beginner to know before they start looking at discs or they want to get more discs?
You can play very good disc golf with only 7 discs.
Yeah.
You do not need a full grip bag full of discs. That is helpful later on, but when it comes to learning disc golf, knowing and understanding how your discs fly and why certain discs fly a certain way, how to control it, will be so much more valuable than packing your bag full of Heimberg destroyers as a beginner.
That's a good point. Here, I'll go on mine and then we'll go back. We'll alternate. Okay.
Back and forth.
We'll alternate. Okay. Here's this has been helping my dad a lot. He's a beginner and boy, did he have a 3-hour conversation with Josh about what does this mean? When you're looking at disc numbers, it could be confusing. Mm-hmm. Take those last 2 numbers and add them together, and you want that negative or you want it at 0.
Yeah, that's a general good rule of thumb.
Yeah. He's understanding it better. He has a wave and a orbital. Mm-hmm. They're the same color, which I think is messing with him a lot, that they're the same color. But he's like, why does this disc do this? And why does this disc do this? Because the wave hooks really hard left for him, but the orbital goes really far straight and then fades at the end. Mm-hmm. He's like, why? And I was like, well, add them together, Dad. If you add them together, the orbital, if you add them together, it's -3.5, which that's a pretty big negative number for discs. And if you add the waves together, it's just -0.5.
Yeah, depending on the plastic. but
Yeah,
that's
depending on the plastic. I forgot what plastic he has. But I was
probably
like, see,
fission.
probably.
Yeah, it's fission if it's the -2.5.
Yeah. So I was like, see, Dad, like this is why this disc is doing this or this. And that made sense to him. So I feel like if a beginner needs to know anything, you take those last two numbers, you add them together, and you want that number to be negative or you want it to be 0. And that will tell you what you need from a disc. All right, your turn. Go.
Find yourself a reliable throwing putter. A reliable throwing putter can also be used as your putting putter, but a putting putter, like putting plastic, isn't always going to be the best throwing putter. So if you're really trying to limit your bag, you don't need a putting putter. You just need a good throwing putter that you can also feel comfortable putting
reverse
with.
Reverse Uno. You don't have to putt with a premium plastic.
You also do not have to.
Yeah.
So we're confusing here on the Mediocre Disc Golf podcast. But I think, it comes down to understanding as a beginner what makes discs do a certain thing. So if you can limit your bag and you have a throwing putter that you really understand, that I think is really important, because if you can throw a putter well, that starts translating to other discs. Whereas if you just have like, what's a really, really flippy high-speed driver? If you have like an orbital or a road runner that you're just mashing, but you're being helped out by it being so understable, you might not understand what that disc is doing. It just works really well for you. So then you get a different disc and you don't understand why it does things the way it does. All right, what's your final tip for beginners when it comes to building a bag?
We're going to stay on numbers here because I have a math degree and I like numbers. So the speed number, so that's the first number you see, is truly how fast your arm is. So although it sounds awesome that like 14.5 speed, blah, 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 your arm is not a 14.5 speed. And it's not going to go that way. It's not one of those things. So you need to find a disc that matches your arm. As you get better, this kind of falls away a little bit, because of course I'm still going to throw mids, even though I don't have a 5-speed arm. But as a beginner, find something that suits you. So whether that is a 5-speed shark, I think a shark's a 5-speed, might be a 4-speed, but whether it's a 5-speed or a 4-speed, or maybe it's a 7-speed leopard, or maybe you can throw a 9-speed, or maybe you can actually throw a 10-speed Avenger SS. Like, find what fits you and stick with it. It doesn't work that if you go up the further distance you get. That only works if you can match the speed. So find a disc number that fits your arm. I mean, I throw, for my bomber disc is a Scorch. My go-to driver is a Zeus, though. And that's a 12-11 speed. But boy, let me tell you, sometimes I can't get those things up to speed. And my passions are 8 speeds. I can get my passions to throw further than a Scorch on a bad day, because I can hit the 8 speed at its speed it needs, and I can't get the 11 speed up to an 11 speed. So that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I probably top out about 450 distance if I like really get a hold of something.
Yeah.
And my discs in order of distance are my Wave, which is an 11, my Octane, which is a 13.5, my AGL Lycan Locust, which is a 9, and then my Servo, which is a 6.5.
Yeah.
Like, those are very different numbers. They all, like, I can crush a 6.5, and that's not saying that like, oh, I'm big and strong. It's just the discs. If you know how to throw them at the right speed, they'll do the right thing.
Yeah.
And if you can throw them at the speed that it's suggesting, the numbers will match up better.
Yes, that's important. Once you can throw the disc at that number, it will do what the other numbers say. So, well, okay, so that's beginners. And everybody always wants to help out beginners. What about the more advanced? Let's say like average to above average. What kind of player? Do you have any tips for those kind of people? Like tips that you find out that if you meet them on the course, you'll be like, hey, actually, I just learned this the other day. Like this might help you. What is something you would tell a more advanced player?
Have a disc that is super dumb flippy and a disc that is super dumb overstable.
Love that.
Like
Yes. What do you have in your back? Name yours. Name yours.
super dumb overstable is my AGL Cedar. It is an 11 speed absolute meat hook, but it's great because I can throw it hard and low and I know it's not going to turn. It's great for skip shots. It's great for spike hyzer. It's if you understand what it's going to do, you can do a lot with it. My super dumb flippy is a Clash honey, the wild honey in steady plastic. So that for me is a throw flat and it turns into a distance roller.
Cool. I've got a Venom. Oh, sorry,
Mhm.
Discraft Venom. My back's not going to be this far. So I've got a Discraft Venom for my super beefy, and I love that thing. That thing actually has a good amount of glide. Like it's not, I wouldn't say dumb overstable, it's just overstable. I could probably go dumber, but I don't need that right now. But love the Venom, and it's perfect for getting out of sticky situations. It was really useful actually at Throwdown. I actually used it quite a bunch. I would say dumb understable. I'd say my adventure. I have a 5 claw Avenger SS from like a couple years ago that like really seasoned, really beat in. It does what it needs to do. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean the flippy still gives you a ton. I think that's a mistake that I see a lot of people start making as their arm speed goes up and as they become more advanced players, as they start taking out the really flippy stuff. I mean, Simon Lazat's throwing a spin, which is a really understable putter.
Yeah, good point.
Everybody can use stupid overstable. Everyone can use stupid understable.
Yeah.
No one's too macho to not be throwing a dumb understable.
All right, you ready for my tip?
Sure.
Throw putters.
Yes.
Throw putters. Putters are so awesome. Like there's so many out there that you can find the right one for you. So if you're like, no, it doesn't work for me, like you haven't tried enough. Because for me, I have a Tour Series Fierce. It's that metallic Z plastic. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
I have that. Love that disc. Wind resistant, torque resistant. It for me, for my arm. Let me specify that. Josh, I know it's not torque resistant for his arm, but like that thing is my money disc. If I am stuck, that's my go-to. It has a little bit of fade, but it has a tiny bit of turn if I need it to. But if I put it on the right angle, I'll hold it. It is such a good disc that I have found myself just throwing it, just needing to reset myself. That it's like almost like a treat for me. Putters are so good. I have Crystal Fierce. I have a Luna. I've got. Are we gonna count zones?
It says putter on it. I'll count it.
Count it. So I have 2 zones. Like throw putters. It's not the same as ball golf where you couldn't hit with a putter, although it'd be pretty fun. This is a different game, and you can throw putters and they will do better things. They will not fade as much. Most putters will just dead straight. So I think that's my tip.
Yeah, I like that. Especially learning how to throw a putter really emphasizes angle control.
Yes.
You have to keep the nose down. You have to throw it flat because putters will accentuate the mistakes that you make. So
yes.
Like I've been throwing around a glitch a lot, and what I like to do is a glitch only round, and then if I have the time, go play like 9 holes with my full bag.
Yeah, that's what we do too. Not with glitches. I don't throw glitches.
But it's amazing how much better my control is on that full bag round immediately after a glitch round, because you can't just lay into the glitch and hope. You have to actually control it.
Yeah.
But also with putters, there's so many out there. You can get some that are really narrow.
Yeah, you can pick exactly what you want. That's the amazing part about it.
There are so many manufacturers out there. Both Kim and I are sponsored by manufacturers, but I'm not going to tell you that everything within the AGL lineup is the perfect disc that you must have
I will. Discraft has everything you would possibly need for a putter. Okay. So go straight to discraft.com. Let me know. I'll point you in the right direction.
It's like the Wayne's World contractor. No, we will not bow to any sponsor. They're eating the Pizza Hut pizza.
We would never.
But I here's some little, we don't have it written down, but here's something that I want people to consider is unless you're a sponsored player, you do not need to be hyper brand loyal.
No.
There is little to no reason. Like the Grace is an incredible 11 speed. Just because you like the Grace does not mean you need to only throw Trilogy.
Yeah, hands down. I threw Discraft because I wanted to, but I was very open that if I needed a disc, I would go use that disc. Like I used to have an Envy in my bag because I needed that line and I didn't find anything in Discraft. I've been able to easily replace the Envy with my Jawbreaker Zone. It definitely, I'm good now, but for me, it was overwhelming to see all the companies, and I can understand why people would feel that way. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, yeah, definitely stick with a company. And then if you need something, look somewhere else. But
yes,
there's so many good discs out there. I mean, you can't tell me there's a better disc than a Zone. And that's not just me on a Discraft. Hold on. That's not just me on a Discraft hype. The Zone is one of the best discs in the game.
yes, yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, and like you said about the Grace, being an 11 speed, one of the best 11 speeds in the game. Like there's so many good discs out there that you don't have to stick to one company.
Right. Like I do find that to be a mistake that people just start burying themselves in whatever brand they want to represent, even though that brand doesn't particularly care that they're representing them. You're not under contract. Don't limit yourself, expand your horizons. There's a lot of good discs out there.
I've got one more tip for people, and I feel like this is going to be like everybody, beginner, advanced. When you go shopping, when you walk into disc shop, the disc golf center, you walk into any store, go in it with a purpose. It's so easy to walk in and just be like, "Ooh, look at these pretty Zeuses." I do that all the time. I don't need any more Zeuses. I don't need any more forces. I'm set. I'm good. But go in with a purpose, and most of that purpose is like, what slot and you're trying to fill? What slot am I missing in my bag? What do I need a disc to do that currently I don't have a disc that needs to do that? Because once you think like that, it will narrow what you need to look at, or it will tell you that you really don't need anything right now. And that's okay. Maybe you just want something, and that's even better. Heck yeah. But figure out about filling that slot.
Yeah. We'll always encourage just buying discs, especially if you use our code MDGPod
100% at
the disc shop. But I agree. Go in with a purpose. I like having a backup of every single one of my discs. Kim has seen my travel bag for tournaments. I literally bring a backup for every single disc in my bag because I am psychotic.
We do the same thing.
But definitely go in with a purpose. If you go into a store like, oh, well, let's just see what pretty discs they have, you could end up going, oh, well, this destroyer that I like destroyers, and then you buy a Calvin destroyer because you're not buying it with a purpose. You don't know what it is. And if you're throwing
but if you want it, buy it.
Yes, from the disc shop. But if you're throwing Star Destroyers and you're like, I like destroyers, let's buy this Calvin destroyer. Good luck. Yeah. That's very different. But if I want something for my Star Destroyer spot, talk to the person who's running the shop.
Yeah.
They are very knowledgeable. They'll be able to help you, like, hey, this new run of this thing came out, or just they own a shop for a reason. They know and love disc golf. They'll be able to help you.
That happened to me recently. I gone shopping and I was like, okay, let me actually like figure out if I need something instead of just looking through all the Zeuses for 20 minutes. And I kind of like was looking at my bag and I needed a gap I had a gap between my Raptor and my Force/Venom for forehands. I just felt like I needed something in between that wasn't as dumb beefy as the Raptor or dumb beefy as the Venom, but something that was like it could glide for a little bit, but still not flip, but have that nice fade. So I ended up getting an Onyx because I was like, oh, this is something I could try. This is new, especially with Discraft. I should be trying the different discs they have and not just like the go-tos. So now I have an Onyx in my bag, and sometimes when I reevaluate my bag, I'm like, oh, I don't need that disc. Like, why do I have that? And I was like, okay, well, it has a roll, and its roll is this. It just I haven't been playing courses where that I needed that roll, and that's something cool to remember as well. When I went to Throwdown, I threw that Onyx so many times. That Onyx and I became BFFs. Like, it was such a good disc, and I knew it. It was yeah.
So. Yeah, it's funny how different courses demand different shots. Like, the Locust is what got me into AGL and becoming an AGL fanboy and eventually on the team and all that. But the courses that we play around here recently haven't demanded that kind of shot.
Yeah.
And Throwdown, I was throwing my Locust all over the place, and it was awesome. Absolutely love it.
Well, real talk, have you do you have a disc in your bag that you wish you could throw it more? That you're like, oh, I just wish I could throw this disc more. Just there's no line that really lines up where you're forcing it.
I'm gonna say no to that, honestly, because I think I've developed my bag well enough that I go through a good portion. I also like to challenge myself during rounds, so I go through a good portion of my bag. I try to force myself to throw different shots. Now, when it comes to a tournament, I'm going to lean on a disc that feels good that day.
100%. Yep, I'm
going to throw my Rive over and over and over if that's what's working with me that day. But I wouldn't say that there's a disc in my bag that I don't use often.
Gotcha.
I will, one last tip as far as building a bag. I highly recommend getting the same molds in different plastics instead of buying a bunch of different discs that feel the same. But make sure that those discs are different colors. Do not get a disc.
Are you saying don't have a Zeus and a Force right next to each other, that they're the same color yellow?
All right, incredible story. Thank you for pitching that to me, even though you didn't mean to. We were doing a Throwdown practice round, and John Prince, my buddy, on a hole, and he goes to throw a dead straight shot. Out of his hand, this thing goes way left, and he goes, that was really weird. That was my Adventure SS. I don't know why it went way left out of my hand. Like, I guess that was a really bad throw. He gets up to the disc and he just starts laughing. I look over at him like, what's up? He points at it. His Captain's Raptor and his Avenger SS are next to each other in the bag. They're both pink swirly. He threw a ESP Captain's Raptor when he intended to throw an Avenger SS. So heed this warning. Make your discs different colors, because it's very easy, no matter how well you know your bag, to grab the wrong pink swirly disc.
I'm sorry. Oh my. Yep. That's a great point. That's a great point. Yep. That's great. You know, when you mess up a Zeus and a Force, baby differences. We're fine. I'll fine. I'm like, why didn't it flip? Oh, because it was a Force. Why did it beef left so hard? Oh, because it's Force. But a cap wrap in a dress us, that's funny. That's funny.
It was very funny because we were like, wow, that was an absolute shank. Like, that could not have gone worse without you hitting.
You could not have shanked that more than you already shanked it.
Right. And I mean, if he picked the right disc, he actually nailed the line. He just picked a disc that went left instead of right. So
that's so much. I love that so much.
I think we will leave y'all on that story. You can find Kim on Instagram at Kim the Great and me at Evan DG. Remember to follow the pod on Instagram at Mediocre Disc Golf Pod and on Twitter at Mediocre DG Pod. If you'd like to support us, buy our shirts on mythicdiscgolf.com and listen to us every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern. If you enjoyed the show, leave us 5 stars or a review. And if you didn't, still give us 5 stars and tell us why. We know we aren't perfect because we are mediocre. Have a good night.